Philip Morphew. How are you this afternoon? And in the States, good evening to you. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Philip Morphew. I'm a spiritual chiropractor and energetic healer here in Australia. I've been fortunate enough to speak all around the world at different events to be able to help enlighten people into a more wholesome, connected, real journey through our lives and being able to connect into spiritual awakening, to awaken, and also then to be able to navigate it. You know, it's a challenge in life generally, but to be able to navigate it well. So I want to go through a few things today with you. I want to talk about what is the process of awakening, how it actually happened with me. I want to talk about the journey and how to navigate it. I want to talk to you about surviving in the human tornado in which most people find themselves in some stage. And then what I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about the cycle of the spiritual journey, which is basically about seeking, searching, love, connecting to lusciousness, having liberty, and then finally being able to go back to spirit. But that's a little bit later on. We're just going to ease into it this afternoon. So take a big breath, get yourself comfortable, and get ready for a little bit of an interesting journey. Now I'm just going to get us all to take 4 very nice deep breaths. So take a breath in, and out. In and out. In and out. And one more for good luck. And out. So I'm just wondering today if there will be people who have met me before, people who have heard me speak before. There may be people who have read my book, Soulful Reflections, or followed me on Instagram, which my Instagram is at Philip Morphew. That's simple. PhilipMorphew. Or you can go to our website, which is just philipmorphewwellness.com. Or if you've got questions, please email me to Dr. Philip with one L Morphew 2 at gmail.com. So it's Dr. Dr. Philip PhilipMorphew and then the number 2 at gmail.com. So please send those through. Anyone who may miss the live segment and come on later or miss part of it, please just email me. We'll send you a link so you can look at it. There will be a link up on the Camden Wellness Online Expo site. So you can't miss out. And also those people who email me, I'll send a little gift of enlightenment and a PDF with some wonderful little tools and things to help you navigate life. So here I am, Philip Morphew. How did I get here? Well, like most of us, somewhere deep in the universe, I chose to become a human. There are times I question myself and wonder why, as many of you do. But I made that choice. I chose my parents as I believed they were ones who would help put me in a position to learn some great lessons in life. Now, I'm not saying all those lessons were fantastic. And some of you who may look at your parents and go, how did I ever be born through them? Or how are they my parents? Well, there are even deeper lessons for you. For those who have just got an amazing set of parents who just nurture and guide you and are there to protect you, fantastic. But I'd say scratch deeper and let's see how much more you can grow and learn, because sitting in our comfort zone is no way to grow. We just sit there comfortably. We sit there quietly. We sit in the middle of our lane. We don't push the boundaries. Now, any of you who may have been following my Instagram at Philip Morphew recently, you would see that I've been very vocal in many ways about asking better questions, asking better health questions, seeking what is true, seeking what is real. Why would I be doing that? Well, asking better questions doesn't necessarily give us a better answer. But what it does do It helps guide us towards a solution or a better answer. So the better questions we ask, the more information and knowledge we may be able to gain. But if we sit there like mushrooms, then don't ever ask any questions, well, we're not going to get any more knowledge. We're not going to get any greater wisdom. We're not going to push the boundaries. Now, as many of us around the world, and I'm sure that pretty well everyone has been touched in some shape or way in the current crisis. Not going to mention what that is, but we all know what it is, because I don't want this video to be taken offline. The current crisis has, in my eyes, been a blessing to humanity. It's been a blessing for those either contemplating a spiritual journey or have begun it or are well and truly on it, because what it does, it tests us. It tests our faith, our belief, our confidence. It tests our ability to surrender to the world and surrender to the divine, unseen power that runs this whole place, that created you and me from one little egg, one little sperm. Bang! Here we are. That's amazing. 900 or a billion trillion cells later, here we are. Some of us like who we are. Some of us are challenged who we are. We often challenge others around us. Why? Well, probably so both parties, or all parties included, can grow and understand each other better. So let's get back to the current crisis. We're bombarded daily by information from this side, which tells us that we're going to die if we don't do what they're saying. And on the other side, we are going to die if we do those things. But the question is, it's not about whether we're going to live or die, because we're all going to die. We all have a date stamp on us. We can't get away from it. We can't run away from it. But yet people run and hide under their rock, in their cave, protect themselves in the hope they won't die. Sorry, people. You will die. I'll die. We'll all die. But we'll die when the universe, divine God, universal intelligence, wherever our faith in the unseen is, there is a plan. And it's my belief there is a plan for this whole chaotic, fearful, confusing, challenging situation that many people in the world find themselves in. What the challenge is, so many of these people today are fearful. I see it in my clinic every day at the moment. You know, in Sydney, here in Sydney, Australia, we've been under lockdown. Not as long as my daughter in London or my son who was in Melbourne. They were both in lockdown for way longer than we have. They survived. They had coping tools to be able to look after themselves, look after their body, mind and spirit, to be able to navigate the lockdown and that isolation. Now, that isolation can cause us some problems, because if we've only ever looked outside instead of looking inside and filled our lives with things to do and many, many friends and many, many activities, which is generally an escape from sitting with us, sitting where we are, sitting deeply in who we are, and sitting with our pain, hurt, challenges, fears, sitting with all that overwhelms us. So we fill our lives with things. I was one of those guys once. You know, I filled my life with all sorts of stuff. I thought I was just on this road to achievement. I thought if I achieved and did well, then my parents would be proud of me and say they loved me. Or maybe I was noticed in my own family. I went out and I achieved, and I had to be really good and competitive of everything that I did, which also gave me a shield so that I couldn't see what I needed to see within me. Little Philip, the little guy that exists in me, the little guy that's in my head, day after day, hour after hour, night after night. That little guy was crying out for my attention. That little guy was crying out for my love. And yet, on the outside, the big guy, me, Big Philip, was also crying out for that love, for that connection, for that support from little Philip. Every one of us are going through it in some stage. But the closer the big person and the little inner person can come into harmony, the better our lives become. The more whole we become. The more grounded we become. The more peaceful we become. And the better able we are to navigate life and the challenge that life throws at us. But being humans, we look out there. Now, yes, I'm talking about the spiritual awakening journey. You know, for years, I'd fill the voids in me, shiny shit, things. I had clothes and shirts in my wardrobe that I really never wore. I actually used to have fancy watches, had a little drawer of fancy watches, because I thought it'd make me feel important or powerful. But yet, sitting in who I am and being peaceful with who I am is the most powerful centered position we can ever be. You see, it's not about out there, it's about in here. And it's about how we connect with divine spirit wherever it is. Some people believe it's up, some people believe it's all around. I believe it's within us. And that's where our whole spirit, that's where the divine works. I had a challenging time last year. My mum, who I love very much, who I was able to care for many years of her life and look after her, passed away. It's sad because I miss my mum. We all miss our mum. We all love our mum. We just want a hug from our mum. We want our mum to tell us they love us and that they're proud of us and that we can do anything and they're our greatest supporters, right? Some mums do it well, some mums don't do it not so well. My mum, having been born in the 1920s and raised in the hardship of the Great Depression, love was shown to her by clothing her, housing her and educating her. There was no verbalisation like there is here today in 2021. Many of us tell our kids how much we love them, how proud we are of them, how clever they are, funny they are. Mine, very challenging and comedic at the same time. Mine all have a voice. And in my house, there are 6 voices that all want to be heard at the same time. Challenging at times, but also exciting at the same time. To see, as a parent, to see children being able to voice how they feel, being able to get all that internalized frustration or angst or that need to be heard out in a safe environment called our home. My God, that is so spiritually sacred. Because in my clinic, I deal with people who've never been able to voice their vulnerability, never been able to ask for what they need, having sucked up so much not so good emotions, negative emotions, fear, situations that they wish they could talk about, but they suppress it in their body. Now, all that suppression's got to do something. What it ends up doing is it starts to kill us slowly from the inside out. It affects our well-being. It affects our mental clarity. It affects our ability to have resonant relationships. Now, when we came back to Earth, or I came back to Earth, you came back to Earth, I didn't know this was going to be my journey. I was happy living in the country. I was happy playing imaginary games, playing with my imaginary friends, which I now know were real. My mother still thought I was a little kooky back then. But thankfully, our family GP at the time said, "Oh, Barbara, let Philip run wild. He's a little edgy. He's got lots of energy. Just let him run in the paddocks." Well, here I am, 60. And last year, I realised why I have certain things. I realised and found out that I have adult autism. But I've had autism all my life. I've never quite fit in. I've never been quite one of the tribe. I have certain habits, but thankfully those habits have meshed well in my calling of being a spiritual wellness chiropractor and energetic healer, because I get to be tactile. I get to touch people's hearts, minds and souls, not only with the work I do, but the work that channels through me to be better able to help guide them. So we all have a little bit of a path in this spiritual journey. Now, going back as a kid, thank God my mum wasn't a mother of the 80s or 90s and filled me up with Ritalin and lots of drugs. I mean, as the last resort, after natural first, well, if you try all that, whether it be chiropractic, osteopathy, Chinese medicine, energetic healing, neuro-emotional clearing, all sorts of acupuncture, naturopathy, breath work, Bowel, all the beautiful, beautiful things that are in the natural world, the homeopaths, the massage therapists. If any of that in combinations, various combinations, doesn't work, well, then move to the next phase. That's okay. Then you can move to medicine because you've tried everything. And then if that fails, you can move to surgery, and if that fails, you move to death, which is going to come to us all, right? So here's my thing. For the last 42 years, I haven't had a prescription medication. I've looked after myself naturally. I have a chiropractic wellness adjustment pretty well every week, and I have done for decades and decades and decades. I have emotional clearing. I have energetic clearing. I get a massage. I use my wonderful, wonderful Chinese medicine doctor. I use my naturopath. I use all sorts of things. Now, leading up to that point, up from basically young to 19, I was filled with different medications. I had a little red pill. This was before the Matrix. I had a little red pill. I had a little blue pill. I didn't have a choice which pill to take. I had to take the red pill in the morning and the blue pill at night. And it's not the blue pill that some men use later in their lives when, they're not vibrant and strong, right? Don't affect your manlyhood, It's okay. There are other ways other than your penis. I'll tell you that. So let's get back to the red pill, blue pill. All of that kept filling me. I end up with multiple episodes of tonsillitis every single year, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year. I had abdominal issues and what we now know is irritable bowel syndrome, which is a suppression of grief and sadness and feeling between a rock and a hard place and not feeling safe in your environment. Generally, not always, but generally. I had the throat because I didn't realise, well, my parents said I talked a lot, but that's me. But I didn't realise I had a voice to use to be able to help others who don't have a voice. So my throat would get congested. And then I was injured playing gridiron in America and ended up finding that I found myself on a chiropractor's adjusting table. Dr. Bob Benningfield, incredible man, changed my life forever. He actually gave me a new path of life. When I was lying there, he'd done all the examinations and x-rays and all the testing that good chiropractors do. He laid his hands on me. Didn't say anything, I just felt his hands on me. And I felt some sort of connection. But the most important thing I felt was hope. I felt hope. Pain was still there. Pain was still radiating in my legs. It was making me cry. I was hurting. But it gave me hope. And that hope turned into a calling. And that calling turned into what I do every single day, is help give people a respite from the harshness of the external world so that we can come into a safe place, be cared for, be empowered, be reconnected so they can be more of who they are. You see, the spiritual journey is all about us becoming more of who we are. And it's not certificates, it's not prizes, it's not like everyone in the race in primary school these days gets we're going to give you a ribbon because you went in it. Good luck, son. Good luck, little girl. No. There are winners and losers, right? And winners and losers in my life are people who have decided to search within themselves, to maybe have the courage and tenacity and faith and confidence and trust to become one with themselves and maybe allow themselves to embark on the spiritual journey. Then there are the people who, I guess, I don't know why, but I guess, are here to make up the numbers. Because why would you keep having the same shit every day? Why would you keep being a victim every day? Why would you internalize your pain that makes you sick and rots your organs from the inside out every day? I don't understand. So every day I do a little meditation. I close my eyes and I see the world. I see people around the world holding their hands, their hearts connecting, being surrounded by love, being surrounded by care, and this little seed within them igniting. And especially in those people who may be stuck in the victim zone or the fear zone in the current situation, guys. Lots of fear out there. If you don't do that, you're going to do that. Well, we're going to do that at some stage anyway. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying be informed, ask better questions, make your own decisions. Because this is our body. We need to be able to make decisions in our body. We need to be able to make decisions and take responsibility for those decisions. Not make a decision and then tell someone else it was their fault. It was ours because we made the decision. So we must learn and grow and keep learning the lessons in that situation. Now let me get back. So here we are, the other people, those people who are, maybe there's a better word, but I call them on the losing side, but I send them love and care every day because I can't put my hands on everyone. So I want to ignite if I can, and I'm encouraging each of you out there to say a little meditation, a little mantra that maybe these people will ignite from the inside. Not in the way of, hell and brimstone, you will ignite and go to hell. No, not that ignite. Ignite with love. Ignite with hope. Ignite with possibilities. Ignite with curiosity. Curiosity is one of the keys for awakening spiritually. To be curious, to wonder, to seek and to search is an incredible asset, an incredible tool to be on the spiritual journey. It's not complicated, guys. It's not complicated. Yes, I've got crystals. I love my crystals because I'm in awe of how these things are created in the world by whatever divine forces in the universe. I love them. Yes, they have power. So does lying on the flat on the grass has power. Looking up at the clouds and imagining the animals and the faces we see in them has power. Saging, I sage my clinic regularly. I sage myself. I do things. I have my singing bowls, I have my crystal bowls, I have my gong. But you know what? They are just the sprinkles on the cupcake. They aren't the cupcake of the spiritual journey. This cupcake of the spiritual journey exists in here. In here. And there's a little switch, people. A little switch that we've got to somehow flick. Somehow get our hand on and turn it on. And stop being fearful like Marcel on the other side of the glass can't quite get through. We've got to stop. We've got to breathe. We've got to hope. We've got to wonder. We've got to be curious. One of my great teachers in life is also one of my great friends. A little shout out to my friend Alita and her partner Will and their daughter Ruby. One of my great, great teachers. She taught me and Will taught me about connecting to curiosity, about expanding that sense of wonder. About asking better questions. And together with some very, very special people I've got to share time on, and especially in retreats that we had in Bali and Tulum in Mexico, I was lucky enough to find my tribe. I have a little tribe here in Australia which has taken me most of my life to find. A tribe where I can speak freely and openly, and I know I'm surrounded by love. We have a great connection of minds. Like my Chinese medicine doctor, Dr. Ling Stevens. the chiropractors that have looked after me in my life. Dr. Gordon Brinsmead, Dr. Lisa Ryman, Dr. Andy, Dr. Caitlin. I'm humbled by your care. I'm humbled by the love that you have to help me become a better me. You see, the spiritual journey isn't all about sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya, using my singing bowls or sitting with my crystals. It's about reconnecting. It's about honouring the energy of the earth, the energy of our sun, the energy of our moon, the energy of our fellow man. Yet, in the current crisis that the world finds itself, is the energy of our fellow man is fragmented, it's fractured, it's fearful, it's confused, it's challenged. People don't know what is the truth. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for people to guide them. They're looking for people to give them hope. Now here in Australia, unfortunately, our leaders aren't giving us hope. They're not shining the light down the dark alleyway of our future. I implore them, please, give people hope. Yes, we understand there are some things happening, and whether it be a divine intervention, whether it be just some crazy thing that's come out of a wet market that gets spread around, or it could be a wonderful opportunity for humanity to reset itself, to recharge itself, to come together as one and not be fractured and pulled apart and dissected and torn and become vicious and mean to our fellow man. So much viciousness at the moment, so much meanness at the moment. People turning upon people because they have an opinion. People turning on family and friends because they've made a decision and it's not the same as their decision. People turning on people because some have face coverings and some don't. Yes, people, we've got to use common sense. It's like when my mother, who was in the nursing home, you know, my mum finally got where I couldn't care for her and love her at the same time. All my energy was done with caring for her. And unfortunately, that was when I had to surrender and my siblings had to surrender, and we allowed our mum to be in a space where she could be cared for and we could just love her. But if any one of us had a cold, if we had a flu, if we had a gastro bug, common sense tells you, you don't go and visit your elderly mother. You don't go and visit those people who are vulnerable. You don't go and visit those people who have ill health. And ill health for all sorts of reasons. No judgment, right? But you don't, common sense says, use your brain. You know? That's common sense. So in current environment, yeah, give yourself a bit of distance. Use some common sanitation. Wash your hands. Look after yourself. You know, do the basics. Good nutrition. You know, if you want to find out about some great nutrition, there's a great little, another one of these talks on the Camden Wellness Expert online. There's a couple actually on really good nutrition. And so those, go there or go and have a look at my friend in Queensland, Cindy O'Meara. Fantastic. Or the medical medium, or, you know, for some holistic natural herbs and things. There's great ways to nurture yourself from the inside. Is that part of the spiritual journey? Absolutely. Learning to nurture, not others, yourself. Because once we nurture ourselves, then we have a better ability through our own vibration, our own love, our own groundedness to be able to help nurture others. I mean, really? Do you want to hang around with people that are angry and pissed off and narky and judgmental all the time. No. We want to be around people who can just relax, who can be calm and can be peaceful, who again, will walk with you in helping the world be a better place. It doesn't matter what they do, whether it be a garbage person or a nurse who's wiping the bum of someone who can't wipe their own bum in hospital, or someone who's cooking your fish and chips, or anyone. It doesn't matter, because that goodness and care and love flows through us no matter what we do. It doesn't matter what we do, people. It doesn't matter the way we look. And yet those people on social media, and especially our youth, getting caught up on how they look because they're trying to hide unconsciously or consciously the pain, the hurt, the disconnection. That maybe their mother's not there, that maybe their father's not there, maybe they've been bullied at school, maybe they want to just belong to a tribe. Because as human beings, the key core of the spiritual journey is just that is love. And all we want as a human being is to love, be loved, and to belong. I mean, I've looked after over the years, I've looked after members of bikie gangs, really tough, scary people. I've looked after notorious people in this country. You know, Mark Brandon, Chopper Reed. If you've never seen the movie Chopper, go and watch it. There was some serious shit going on in Chopper's life, but you know what? All Chopper wanted to do was belong. All he wanted to do was be loved. All these bikies, they just want to be loved on the inside. But the way they protect their vulnerability is put so much strength and bulk and fear and intimidation around themselves. And yet you've got bikies who do amazing things, who do so many things for sick kids, you know, who gather and help communities in need. But it's the same thing as the nasty human being who might live up the road and be dobbing everyone in for doing good things or connecting with their family or getting outside and getting some fresh air. Maybe they're just scared. Maybe we've just got to hope a little bit more so we can ignite that little flame in them so they can connect to a journey that's going to fulfill every single void in their body. Every single void. And when our voids are full and our heart is full and overloaded and overflowing, that overflow goes to other people. But if our heart is not full, no one around us' heart will be full. We've got to keep looking inside. See, we're all seeking. Ever since we're little, we're seeking. We seek the approval of our parents. We seek the approval of our teachers. We seek the approval of our friends and our mates. And in these days, social media, we seek the approval of people we have no idea who they are. Wow! I mean, I've had a number of young teenage girls push themselves to the brink of life and death because all they wanted to do was belong. They stopped eating because someone said, oh, you got a fat ass, or geez, you're fat, or oh, you're ugly, or you're dumb, or you're stupid, have pushed themselves to the brink because all they wanted underneath all of that was the approval of people that they really didn't need their approval. The only approval that you need, people, the only approval that will fill yourself with love is the approval of that little person in you. And in my case, it's little Philip. Little curly-haired Philip. Big smile, very active, very tactile. Very active. All he wanted to do was be loved and connected and belong. And the guy on the outside, the shell called Big Philip, he did everything he could to belong. He did everything he could to be loved. I looked for love in the wrong places. You know, I searched and searched and searched. I met some beautiful people along the way who also must have been looking for love because I wasn't the right one. And obviously they weren't the right one for me. But I trust I trust, I have great faith that the unseen powers of the universe and the divine and God or universal intelligence or universal knowledge or oneness has a plan for me, has a plan for you, has a plan for all of us. But we've got to be awake, people. We've got to be awake. We can't be sleepy. We can't be asleep on the job of being a human being. To wake up, to ignite, to connect, to commune, to love. I trust the divine, and I was guided to what love is. And every day I try to do my very best to be a beacon, a lighthouse on the coast where there's storms and there's rains and there's massive waves. I try to be a lighthouse for people. Blinking, 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 putting information out, putting love out, putting care out. And all the while, little Philip and big Philip are inside that lighthouse trying to connect, trying to be better than they are, trying to learn their lessons. You know, we're still human. Are we perfect? No. Am I perfect? God, no. You've just got to ask the people I live with. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. Every day I'm trying to be better. You know, I many years ago I was introduced to the Japanese concept of Kaizen. Incremental, ongoing improvement. How do we do that? Little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit. It's like the little red caboose, the little red engine, sitting at the bottom of the hill. I can't do that. I can't do that. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, he can. Yes, I 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 can. Made it all the way to the top of the hill. Incremental, little bits of improvement will get us where we need to be going. Now, what's the end game? What's the end game of the spiritual journey? It's an interesting question because people have been posing that question for thousands of years. Man-made churches tell us one thing. The end game is to be at the pearly gates and knock on the pearly gates and hopefully we'll be let in. If we haven't been too bad, we haven't been a naughty boy or a naughty girl. If we haven't repented our sins. That's one aspect. Other people, a great Australian businessman, multi-billionaire, Kerry Packer many years ago, had a heart attack. He lived life hard. He lived life large. He did a lot of good things that people don't realise, but he lived big. And he had a heart attack when he was playing polo once, many, many years ago. And he didn't die. He came through it. And someone asked him, what was it like on the other side, Kerry? He goes, nothing. It was black. There's nothing there. But interestingly enough, he then funded defibrillators in all the Australian ambulances at a great cost. So here's my question, Kerry, if you can hear me and connect to me from the other side. Was there anything on the other side? I'd suggest if there wasn't, you wouldn't have bought those defibs. However, and you wouldn't have become such a great philanthropist as you were. Yes, you're a hard-nosed businessman and making money and gambling and punting and all those things, but you lived life large. That was your life. That was your journey. Just as my journey is to learn how to be a better Philip as a person, as a practitioner, as a healer, as a voice for people who don't have voices. At the end of the day, I have to connect to me to be able to do that well. So what I'm suggesting is, let's get you out of the human tornado. Let's get to the centre of spiritual awakening and the spiritual journey. And these are terms that I use, and I use them every day with people. I said we have to become one with the centre of our human tornado. We have to be able to stand in the centre of the tornado, which is still and calm. It's peaceful. It's calm. But all around us there is chaos. All around us there are challenges. There's stuff flying through the air. There's drama, there's distrust, there's confusion, there's neediness, there's emptiness, there's shame, there's guilt, there's anger, there's loneliness. And people filling their lives with shiny shit and write nicely pouting pictures. You're caught in the human tornado. You're getting sucked up into the drama of life, all the while trying to look and see, where's my connection to life? Where's my connection? Where's my tribe? Will someone love me? Will I love myself? Swinging around, flying around, it's chaos. There goes a flying cow, a house, a plane just hit the wall. Interesting. That's what it's like to be in the centre of the human donor. Interesting. Curiosity. Interesting. I don't let my mind go to, oh my God, are my kids in there? Oh my God, I'm so patient. You know, the little film sometimes will. But when we're talking well together, we go, wow, interesting. Obviously there was a divine plan. There was a some sort of divine guidance. You know, why can I say that with such power and passion? I know there will be people going, oh, mate, you don't know what it's like to have someone die of cancer or this and this. I've had friends die of cancer. I've been with people when they've died. I've had my own father snapped out of my life in the blink of an eye. One car, he was cycling, fell asleep, bang, killed. Laid in the arms of a friend of mine who didn't know how to tell me for 3 years. Then my father took his last breath in his arms. I was forever grateful, and I will always be grateful, and I'll never be able to do enough for that wonderful man. I've had friends that I talk to and I geez, wow, you're just looking like you need a hug today. Give them a hug. Then I find out 2 hours later they've jumped off a bridge. You know, I've beaten myself up. What could have I seen? What could have I done that would have been different? What did I miss? I beat myself up. In a state of centre of that tornado, there was a divine plan. There was nothing I could do because that person's mind was done. His number was called. However that works on the other side. I've been to the edge of the abyss. I had a guy who our children went together and went to school together. See something in my eyes one day and he knew what I was saying was bullshit. He goes, well, hey, Morph, what are you doing down here? I said, oh, down here finishing my book. I've got to get this finished. I've got to get it finished. And he goes, right. Oh, you know, it's my birthday. Here, have a drink. No, I've got to get this book finished. Got the book finished. And he goes, no, you're not leaving. It's my birthday. You're not going. Find out later it wasn't his birthday. He saw something in my eyes that said, not your day today, Philip. Not your day to jump off a balcony. No, not going to happen on my watch. Was that him or was it a divine guidance? It was a divine guidance. You know, I know what it's like. I've been when people have passed. You know, my own mother, you know, died last year in 2020, just shy of her 93rd birthday. Now, I used to play a bit of golf. I'm not a golfer, don't mind it. I probably like the camaraderie more than that. But I remember what a mulligan was. And a mulligan was you got close to the hole, you could call it. Well, my mother had a mulligan. She turned 93. Just shy. We'll give her 93, right? So here she is in a year that everyone's locked down. My mother was a tactile being. My mother just loved holding our hand. My mother loved me just giving her hair a brush. She loved my sister putting makeup on her. She loved my brother coming in just chatting with her. None of us could do that in 2020. The last time I saw my mum in a lucid, vibrant, cheeky state, even though it was in a different decade to which we were existing, was 2 weeks before our lockdown. Back at the end of February 2020. The last time I saw her was on the day she took her last breath. After many, many fights, my sister and myself fighting to be admitted to the nursing home so we could be with our mother. To be with her after she passed, and I was blessed and grateful to sit with my mother after she'd left her body and her spirit had gone home to where there is peace, and she's running around as a 23-year-old playing tennis and being very cheeky, I'm sure. I got to be there. I got to do a goddess ceremony with her mortal remains. I got to bless her head for thinking and being and smiling. I blessed her feet for carrying her hands for carrying us, her womb for igniting myself and my brother and my sister, her heart for beating and loving us and our father and her grandchildren. I blessed that body that she was in. I felt very at peace, knowing that she was in a good space. She'd been liberated from the cloak of human burden, the cloak of dementia, the cloak of having to be cared for by others, to be released and liberated. See, once we get to liberty, we really are well and truly on our spiritual journey. I mean, in my book, Soulful Reflections, I have healing words and passages and insight on that journey, seeking. We're seeking, when we are just seeking that connection and love in our tribe. A lot of the time we don't know what it is because we go off and do things like I did. Had to fill my life with stuff. Had to fill my house with stuff. I don't want stuff. I just give me minimal these days. I'm happy. I'm happy in that space. Good food, a loving family, some peace, some beautiful people to care for every day. And then we go to searching, and we search and we search and we search and we try things. I've got a friend who, in the 25 years I've known them, they've been a member of 7 different churches, all in the hope of being able to search for something. Whereas just, the biggest search I ever had was stand in front of the mirror and look into my eyes and tell myself that I loved me. I loved little Philip and I loved big Philip. Tough, tough, tough. Takes courage, people. Takes courage. Buckled me at my knees and I fell to the floor and sobbed for hours. But I learnt in that moment of spiritual awakening that I had meaning, that my life had purpose, and that to be loved and love is the purpose of the spiritual awakening and journey. It's not filling with things. I love my tribal get-togethers. I love my retreats in Tulum and in Bali and internationally, and hopefully soon Alita up in Canada, where we can commune as a tribe. We can hold energy and space for each other. It's not about me fixing that. It's not about me fixing anyone I look after. It's about holding space for them. Holding that space open so love can come in where there was no love, where there was pain, hurt, so that can come out and love can be filled in. It's like having a glass of water with a couple of drops of food colouring. That's the tainted life that we've all lived. And here I am and the divine era and other healers and other energetic beings and other people, light workers, are pouring water in and in and in and in. And that water is love. That water is care. That water is divine spirit. That slowly fills and overflows that glass so we get clarity, and that clarity is peace and love. See, love is an amazing thing. Love is not here, not as love in our groin. Love sits here. And love feels like this, people. For those people who have been, are, or maybe one day be sexually active, the closest way I can describe love is that moment just past orgasm. That's the closest I can describe that. We can feel it when we lie on the ground. We can feel it when we have food. Once we start to connect to love, we then move into a level of lusciousness. What is lusciousness? Lusciousness is being able to bathe in that space. Bathe in the centre of the human tornado while all that craziness and shit's flying around. To bathe in that lusciousness of love and go, interesting. Not my shit. Yeah, I'll work on my shit, but that's not my shit. That's love. That's the lusciousness. The lusciousness is appreciation of love. Lusciousness is the appreciation and being able to hold energy and space around someone whom you care. You might not be intimately engaged with them, but you may have such a love. I have people in my life who fill my heart with love because they allow me to hold space around them. They allow me to care for them. That's the lusciousness of love. Anyone, and I don't know if anyone here today has, been on there with me in the clinic. It has been under my care in the clinic. But you know, some people may notice I've got a lot of energy in the clinic, and I just seem to go and go and go, and yeah, a bit like an ever-ready battery. But what it is, it's because my void is continually being filled with love and joy and peace, you know, at being able to help others. See, when we're in that, then move from that luscious state into liberty. Now, liberty is truly being in the centre of the human tornado. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful space. You know, are we able to stand in there all the time? No, because you know what? We become comfortable. Like I said in the beginning, we might become comfortable. Don't do anything. Sit under our rock. Be a mushroom. So sometimes we've got to get sucked into that. And it's only through that contrast do we truly understand and appreciate that love, that centeredness, that truth of the spiritual journey. Pretty huge, right? Pretty huge. So whether from our womb to our tomb is about a journey of curiosity, a journey of connection, a journey of liberation, a journey of love. That's the spiritual journey. And when you start to awaken, there'll be things that go, I want more. I need more. I need more. I need something. Something's missing. I'm curious. I want to learn and grow. I'm willing to sit in my shit. I'm willing to sit in my stuff. I'm not going to wriggle and drown in the quagmire of it. I'm going to sit with it and breathe into it until it passes. The ability to do that is fantastic. The spiritual journey is not fairy floss and rainbows and unicorns, people. I'm sorry. At the end of it, I'm sure it is, as we pass back to spirit. I'm sure that's where the fairy floss and the unicorns exist. The spiritual journey is like being gaffer taped naked to the front carriage of a roller coaster that never ever stops through its twists and turns. Occasionally, we may have some respite and go, oh, this is so nice. This is good. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, you know, we're on it again. And that's why I'm saying we have to come back to the centre of the human tornado. That's the key in the spiritual journey, to get back into that centre. Ah, that's interesting. Wow, that was interesting. I was angry there. I don't have to work out why. I just have to sit with it. It'll work out. Ah, wow. Gee, I shouldn't have opened my mouth then. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, no judgment. And just as we're coming to the close of this presentation, I would empower you and enlighten you and charge you to be able to share love from here with those people who are struggling, those people who are caught in the grip of fear, those people who are being choked, wondering what to do. And it's their decision whether to do that or that. It's okay for them. It has to be right for them. And our morals and our values can't be imposed upon them. We have to be the observer. We have to do what's right for us. But remember, people, what it is. My life has been natural first, medicine second, surgery third, and death if none of that works. So I'm saying be peaceful, be calm, be proactive. But remember, we're each on an individual journey, and there are no rights or wrongs. Please don't be judgmental of others. Do not be vicious to others. Do not be mean to others. Be kind. Move to the centre of the human tornado and go, wow, this is an interesting journey to watch. Now, anyone who's enjoyed or felt inspired by this, please send me a little email to Dr. That's Dr. Philip with one L, Morphew, Morphew, at Dr. Philip Morphew with the number 2 at gmail.com. Let me know whether I inspired you. Let me know if you've got any questions. You know, and those people who send me an email, I'm going to pop you into a draw. So I've got 5 of my books, Soulful Reflections, to give away, and we're going to do a draw. I'll do it on video so everyone can see it happening, and we'll send those out. And for those who miss out, please, you know, it's available on Amazon, it's available on Angus and Robertson, Barnes and Noble's, Booktopia. So what I'd like to say, if you've got any questions, please send them through. I will definitely answer them. Thank you for giving up your time. Thank you for being here with me today, and thank you in advance for helping the world become a better place. Thank you very much. This is Dr. Philip Morphew at Philip Morphew on our Instagram, saying goodbye for now, and love be with you. Thanks very much. Have a great afternoon, and watch the rest of the Camden Wellness Expo presenters. You're going to learn a lot. Bye.